Out of high school, Cody Mauch had 0 Division I offers, leaving him as an overlooked 0-star recruit. He was a scrawny tight end that was continuously overlooked for his size and overall athletic ability. But now he has one of the most recognizable smiles and charming personalities in the NFL. But how did he get here? How does a kid from a small town in Breckenridge, Minnesota that had virtually no shot to compete at the collegiate level become one of the NFL's most highly anticipated linemen? Well, we're about to find out, because this is the story of Cody Mauch. Cody was born on January 15th, 1999 in Breckenridge, Minnesota, but his football journey began in Hankinson, North Dakota, a small town of less than 1,000 people in the southeast corner of the state. You can imagine growing up in such a small town opened up the door for Cody to excel in multiple sports, playing on the school's basketball, baseball, and of course football team. And let's address the elephant in the room, his 2 missing front teeth. Basketball would be responsible for that famous gap-toothed grin, attempting to dive for a loose ball during a game. Most kids would have wanted to get their teeth replaced, but Cody isn't like most kids, and ultimately decided that his gap-toothed grin just happened to fit in with his goofy personality. By his freshman year in high school, he was most likely a standout athlete in the Hankinson community and took a liking to football. And his high school only had enough students to sustain a 9-man football team. That's right, his high school didn't even have enough to play 11 people on each side of the field. So it was now time for football season, and although Cody was a great athlete at that time, he was everything but your NFL caliber lineman. And as the head coach Jason Monolaws put it, freshman year, he came in as a skinny little guy. But Cody was undeterred by his stature as a young high school athlete and continued to be a team player. Literally, this kid was playing almost every position on the team. From quarterback to kicker to nose guard, it didn't matter. And this work ethic can partly be attributed to the long days he spent working on a farm growing up. His head coach even stated, "There's a certain work ethic a farm kid has versus a city kid. On the farm, you need to get up. There's going to be work to do, and you do the work all day. And then when it's done, you can go and have some fun." And the work ethic Cody built during those long days on the farm would serve him well in the future. And fast forward a few seasons, it wasn't until Cody's junior year where other high school coaches started to take notice of Cody Mauch as he grew to an impressive 6'5", eventually specializing in the tight end position. He had become a deep threat on the field, and his coach would actually get grief from other teams for throwing high balls in the end zone. And you can imagine, in such a small town with less than 1,000 people, there weren't many kids that could guard someone who was 6'5".
You got a 6'5" tight end, you just throw a little corner route into it and toss him the ball, he's going to catch it 9 out of 10 times.
And at this point, people knew that he had the potential to play D1 ball. He had the height and the size with an incredibly high ceiling. He was your definition of a true hybrid athlete and would wrap up his high school career with 1,072 receiving yards and 24 touchdowns. Not bad, but nothing crazy. Although he was hopeful to get a scholarship offer from at least one small D1 school, no one was willing to pull the trigger on this kid. Do you take the risk of giving money to a recruit who played in such a small town with probably less competition and little knowledge of how he would actually be utilized on the field? This resulted in Cody only receiving a handful of D2 offers, which is still impressive considering the circumstances. But in 2017, Cody chose the only D1 program to offer him a walk-on spot, a school just an hour's drive away from where he grew up, the University of North Dakota State. And the odds of Cody seeing any actual playtime were slim. This wasn't some run-of-the-mill program he was joining. North Dakota State was a team that dominated the FCS D1 level for decades, and up until Cody arrived, this team had won 7 of the last 8 national titles. Upon Cody's arrival, the Bisons decided to place Cody in the tight end position, standing at a lean 6'5", 220 pounds, with still a lot of room to grow. This is where that farmer, get-it-done mentality would serve him well, because he didn't know it at the time, but he was about to go through a major physical transformation that would maximize his skill set at the collegiate level. Just after his redshirt freshman season, Cody went from a 220-pound freshman in 2017 to a 269-pound offensive lineman in 2018. That's almost a 50-pound weight gain in 1 year. And apparently there was an all-you-can-eat meal plan for this freshman, and Cody definitely took advantage of it. And now that I think of it, I'm sure growing up in a small town, there wasn't much of a structured weight training and eating program. So now that there was an actual program to follow, Cody was able to easily fill out his frame within the matter of months, thanks to a properly planned diet and lifting routine. But you and I both know that the 270-pound range just won't cut it for a Division I offensive lineman. So after playing in 6 games his redshirt freshman season and packing on even more weight, he weighed in at 290 pounds going into his junior season. And by his final season, Cody Mauch had gained over 80 pounds, weighing in at 303 pounds in the 2022 season. He had become a dominant offensive tackle for the Bisons, becoming a second-team All-American in 2021 and first-team in 2022, and allowed just 2 sacks his entire collegiate career, while winning 3 FCS titles at North Dakota State in 2018, 19, and 21. Talk about an impressive resume. At this point, the media was now projecting Cody Mauch as a potential second-round pick, and after a great performance at the Reese's Senior Bowl, proving that he can play at every spot after getting reps in center, guard, and tackle, he was ready to move on to the next chapter, the 2023 NFL Draft. I did some research about North Dakota State, and they've actually produced NFL talent pretty consistently for an FCS school. They've had 10 players get drafted since 2015, ranging from first rounders to those picked in the 7th round. There was Carson Wentz in 2016 and Trey Lance in 2021, who were both selected in the 1st round, and some less common names such as Christian Watson, who was selected in the 2nd round of the 2022 draft. There's Cordell Volson in the 4th round in 2022, Easton Stick in the 5th round in 2019, and Kyle Emanuel in the 5th round in 2015. All players from the North Dakota dynasty, but none with as good a story as Cody Mauch. And Cody would have a great performance at that year's combine, launching him up the ranks as a top lineman in the 2023 draft, and he was selected in the 2nd round, 48th overall. Since getting drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Cody has proven to be an extremely reliable blocker as an interior lineman. But every athlete does have their weaknesses. Some reporters have mentioned that Cody's footwork in pass sets can get away from him, that his short arms can prevent him from making certain blocks, and that his hands get grabby when losing early during the play. Whatever areas of improvement Cody has, one thing is for certain: no one is going to outwork him. And once again, there goes that farmer mentality we talked about earlier. He started all 17 regular season games in 2 playoff matchups his rookie year, gaining much needed experience. I came across an article online stating that the Bucs are hoping to keep Mauch in the right guard position, hoping to improve on their run game. And it's clear that Cody is a much needed addition to the Bucs offense and hopefully has a bright future in the NFL. It's amazing to see a gap-toothed, goofy kid become a dominant NFL player. Cody, a kid raised in the middle of nowhere, playing 9-man football in a town with less than 1,000 people, was still able to live his dream of playing in the NFL. He has such an incredible underdog story. I personally can't help but root for him. And the best part of Cody is that he hasn't changed a bit. He is still that same goofy, lovable kid with 0 stars out of high school that almost no one took notice of.